Hello, and welcome to the episode of Todd Talks. When Todd talks, people listen. Fusion. Did you do it with me? Are you fused? Yeah! I know what you're thinking. Todd, that was an epic rendition of the fusion dance. Why, thank you, dear viewer. But also, you might be thinking, well, wait a minute, Todd. Today's Monday. So why are you doing your preview video right now? Well, because of the delay to the season finale of Death Battle, they moved the previews to be on Mondays to help pad things out. Not unlike what they used to do back in the day, which makes me sound really old. And so I was like, you know what? If the previews are both out on by Monday, I'll just do it on Monday. And so here we are, discussing the upcoming season finale of Gogeta versus Vegito, the battle of the DB fusions, the fusion war. Yeah, it's gonna be awesome. Or we hope it's gonna be awesome. And again, the fight is going to be not this upcoming Wednesday, but the following Wednesday. So I know it's a little bit more of a wait, but they wanted to make sure they had plenty of time to get the battle done, and it's been a while since they've had a delay like this, so let's just give them, the benefit of the doubt and say, like, yeah, they're just working on some refinements, okay? It's the season finale. They're going to have a break between this one and the next one, so we'll be fine. All right, so this is actually a really ironic death battle, not just because of the fact that this is an in-universe fight, which they rarely, if ever, do for a main death battle. The other ones being, of course, Red versus Blue, and I think there was one other. I can't recall. I think there was one other, but they don't do this that often. But the other thing is that I honestly didn't have to break my back trying to research anything. All right, the G1 blog, which I often read after my previews, was out well beforehand, so I was able to read it in incredible detail, and it went into incredible detail about things that honestly boiled down to you don't need to know that much about these characters to determine the winner. What are the odds? All right, so let's start out with the characters, and I guarantee you this will not be 30 minutes. I'll be shocked if I go 20. So let's just roll with it. First up, we have Gogeta. Yes, so as noted in the preview, the first appearance of Gogeta was in was in the movie Fusion Reborn. Now, for those of you who are not in the know, and this was me for a long time, Dragon Ball has, over the course of its life, gone through much more than a couple of series: Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball Z, GT, it counts, and Super. That's 4 series plus the canon movies. But notice how I said that, the canon movies, because especially during the prime of Z, they had a lot of non-canon movies. That's why we know about certain characters that never showed up in the main canon, such as Frieza's brother Cooler. Get it? Frieza, Cooler, King Cold. Yeah, that was just one of many movies that were made mainly for Japan and dubbed non-canon. It gets with actually the Broly movies were originally Broly was originally debuted in the non-canon movies. There were a few of them. There was the original Broly movie, then there was when he was resurrected, and that's where the Princess Trunks line came in, I'm pretty sure. So yeah, there's been a lot of non-canon stuff that's been eventually morphed into canon over the years. We're still waiting on Cooler, by the way. Get on it, Toriyama. So in the movie Fusion Reborn, there was an instance where they had to face one of the embodiments of evil, Jambara, I believe they said the name was. I'm trying to remember a lot of names. And so Goku and Vegeta had to do a fusion dance to get a power level that would allow them to fight this demonic entity. And as I showed, it's the Fusion Ha dance. This was taught to Goku by the Metamorans, who taught him a lot of techniques, to be honest. But as was noted, we never really meet them in the series, not even in the manga, which is odd, given how powerful they clearly are, to know such things like instant transmission or the fusion dance and so on and so forth. So, but the dance has certain requirements to enact the fusion. Number one is you have to have an equal power level. So, for example, Goku and Krillin could not do the fusion dance in their adult forms because Goku is just on a higher level than Krillin. It's not an insult to Krillin, it's just the way it works. And or even Goku and Piccolo, even with his orange Piccolo form, he could not likely fuse with Goku, though that'd be really hilarious to see. But in contrast, Goten and Trunks can fuse and become Gotenks, which we've seen multiple times over the series, including in the recent Dragon Ball Super movie, Super Hero. But that's the other catch. When you do the dance, you have to do it perfectly. I mean, you have to be at the same power level, in sync, and perfect. That sounds so weird. Perfectly touch your fingertips. If you even have it off by a fraction of an inch, which has happened in both the series and in the movies, you will do what's called a false fusion. We saw this multiple times in Dragon Ball Super Broly, where Vegeta and Goku were trying to do the dance to diffusion, and the results were a super lanky form that was devoid of energy, or a super chubby form, which we also saw with Gotenks over in Superhero. So it's a very precise dance, but if you pull it off, you get to become a super form, and in this case, they became Gogeta, and that allowed them to beat this demonic entity without issue. The next appearance would be in the much maligned Dragon Ball GT, which is now non-canon, but it was canon for a long period of time, which is why the debate enhanced, because that version of Gogeta went Super Saiyan 4, which at the time was the pinnacle of transformations, and they used that to defeat the Dark Dragon, the one that was the dark essence of the Dragon Balls. And this was the dragon at its darkest and most powerful form. It had absorbed all the Dark Dragon Balls, and we needed Gogeta at Super Saiyan 4 in order to beat him. It was a thing. So that was the peak for a while. In fact, if I recall correctly, that's the form they used during DBX when they did Vegito versus Gogeta themselves. They used the Super Saiyan 4 form. However, in terms of pure canon, Gogeta showed up in the Dragon Ball Super Broly movie, and when Gogeta returned, it was not only awesome. I love the movie. Like, that is my. I've only seen the canon movies, but like that's my favorite. Like, that's my favorite. Broly was awesome. But yeah, Gogeta was able to go up against Broly in his toughest form. All right, this was a form that was taking on Golden Frieza and beating him senseless. This was a form that took on both Super Saiyan Blue, Goku, and Vegeta, and beat them so badly that they had to flee to where Piccolo was, because we gotta have Piccolo in the movie. And that's when they did the fusion dance, and after multiple failed attempts, they were able to fuse enough to become Gogeta and take on Broly. And when they took on Broly, they were so powerful, they were so fast, and so capable that Broly did not land a hit on Gogeta. Watch it, and the G1 blog noted this. He did not land a single hit on Gogeta. That's impressive because of how insanely powerful and fast Broly was at that time. So, and of course, their clashes were enough to break reality multiple times over. And even though canonically, despite what I said DB, which could have been two different things, Death Battle said he technically didn't beat Broly because remember he was wished away before the final blast could go down. He still beat Broly bad enough to depower him, which was something that should not have been possible given Broly's power level, but because of the fusion dance, literally combining and amplifying the powers of Goku and Vegeta in this super form, and adding in the Super Saiyan Blue form, it was well beyond even what Broly could handle. So yes, they did beat Broly. It's just a little complicated. But yeah, so that was one of their fusion forms. But as we all know, as we all know, there's another. You notice that that's actually one of the few lines that Yoda said that actually makes sense in like the grammatical sense? No, there is another. Just asking. All right. So the second fusion, which technically was the second fusion, because as they noted, Fusion Reborn technically came before the Majin Buu arc. Uh, when Majin Buu was rampaging across Earth and had obtained one of its more powerful forms after absorbing Gotenks, ironically enough, which again fusion dance. Vegeta and Goku needed something to tip the scales. They needed something to take on Buu because Buu was just so powerful. I mean, like, say what you want about the arc, I actually liked it, but Buu was a beast. Like Buu was impossibly strong. So that's when they got the Patara earrings. The Patara earrings were gifts from the old Kai. Remember, there's Grand Kai, Supreme Kai, and there's Old Kai. The Old Kai was in the sword. All right, don't ask. Him and Master Roshi would be great friends. So, with Old Kai, he had the Patara earrings, and these were special, God-blessed accessories, as the preview would say, accessories that would force a fusion on someone. Now, there's a couple catches here. The biggest thing is that it's not a permanent fusion, just like the fusion dance. It's not a permanent fusion. All right. If you are anything but a Kai, it is limited to an hour. And they noted this in Dragon Ball Super because, of course, they did. I'll get to there. If you are a Kai, like we saw with Supreme Kai and his assistant, whose name escapes me, I do apologize. They became a permanent fusion because the earrings were meant for them, which is a bit odd. Now that when you really think about it, but if you're anything that is basically mortal, like a Saiyan, you have 1 hour of a fusion. And so Vegito, as it became, was the fusion of when Goku and Vegeta put on the earrings and fused in a way that many people have made fun of for obvious reasons. If you watch the preview, you'll understand. So, but the good thing was that when Vegito was born, weird name aside, I do agree that Gogeta is a better name than Vegito. It's just preference, I suppose. But they were easily able to handle that form of Majin Buu, and even after they eventually got eaten willingly because they wanted to go inside and release all the people that Buu had captured, which obviously led to Kid Buu, which was another problem entirely. They were able to just easily manhandle Buu, who at that time was powerful enough to beat a fused Goten and Trunks, who became Gotenks. Like, they were powerful, and yet they still got swallowed up by Buu. And they weren't able to resist him, but Vegito was, which showed the difference in the power level between the fused forms. Now, we did not see Vegito for quite some time afterward, not the least of which is because, they don't exactly have the Patara earrings lying around anywhere. And when we saw them next, it was the Goku Black arc, which is easily one of the best of Dragon Ball Super, by far. And when Fused Zamasu did their earrings, which was very complicated, and there's a reason why it can't be taken into full consideration in terms of scaling. Because remember, he was Dang, I don't want to do this. Okay, Zamasu was a Kai, technically, so the fusion would be permanent. But Goku Black, who had the soul or personality or mind, however you want to define it, of another Zamasu, because of time travel, but he was in a mortal body via Goku. So the fusion was imperfect over time, but because they were still part Kai, they could fuse enough to become like an essence of evil, which needed to have the entire multiverse wiped out by a Grand Zeno. It was a thing. Anyway, but Fusamasu was so powerful that they needed Vegito to go Super Saiyan Blue and take him on. And when he did, it was powerful enough to manhandle him pretty well. But the catch, as it were, was that because they were at such a high power level, they were burning through the energy of the Patara earrings. So the hour time limit is a maximum. If you unleash a lot of attacks, you can burn through your reserves and it'll lower your maximum limit. If I recall correctly, they were battling for about 40 minutes. Could have been shorter, but even still. They were going full blast to try and defeat Zamasu, and that led to them burning out the earrings, and then they couldn't do it again, which is why they weren't able to do it again with Boo. Either that or they didn't have the earrings the second time. Now, there is one thing the G1 blog mentioned that I definitely want to note here, and that is the question of if you destroy the earrings, can you break the fusion? The reason people are asking about this is because of the Tournament of Power / Universal Destruction arc in Dragon Ball Super, where Kefla was born from the fusion of the two Saiyan ladies, and at the end of their fight with Goku, the earrings were destroyed, and then they got beamed out to the observers area. While it does appear that the earrings being destroyed the fusion, that's not canon, all right? And they've talked about this in Death Battle before. The manga and the anime sometimes diverge in what happens, what is said, and how things are interpreted. All right, that's why for Goku versus Superman 1 and 2, they made sure that there was no mistranslations. In the manga, when Kefla was Kefla, whatever, when the fusion was destroyed when the fusion was beaten, the two ended up in the stands, and their earrings were fine. They were still wearing the earrings, and they were fully healed. Also in the manga, during the Goku Black arc, Goku has the ability to use Hakai, which is really interesting. He used Hakai to vaporize part of Fused Zamasu, including his face with one of the earrings. And when that happened, the earring perfectly reformed when Zamasu healed. So, as the G1 blog notes, it's not consistent enough to say that if you destroy the earrings, you would destroy the fusion. There is no concrete evidence in the manga or definitively in anime to say that this would happen. Many people agree, including the G1 blog, that the anime did it as a symbolic gesture of why the fusion lost to Super Saiyan to Ultra Instinct Goku. And in the manga, I don't think Goku actually was the one who beat him. I think it was Gohan, because Gohan fought them in the manga, but that's another story entirely. Like I said, there's differences between what happens in both. So the earrings are not a if you hit this, we will defuse kind of thing. It is not like that at all. There's no consistent information to say that is the case. And honestly, that would kind of stupid even for an anime, because considering the attacks that these characters take to the face all the freaking time, one of them would crack or destroy the earrings, and they don't. Like, it didn't happen with Boo, it didn't happen with Vegito versus Zamasu, it didn't happen with the Tournament of the Power, etc., etc. So, that is something that won't be an issue. Alright, so who wins in the fight between Gogeta and Vegito? Now, a lot of people are wondering about power levels, and yeah, this is why I'm really glad I read the G1 blog, because in canon, it's specifically stated that the Patara earrings give a greater multiplication boost to the wearer. So if you use the Patara earrings over the fusion dance, you're going to get a greater multiplier. That would make sense, because one was a dance taught by a species versus earrings that were given to people by gods. I remember when the gods wear the earrings, they fuse permanently. So, that would explain a lot. The catch is that we've seen Gogeta at times display greater levels of power than Vegito, mainly in the Broly fight. All right, if we were just taking Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, then that you could argue the scaling differences. But we had Super Saiyan Blue Gogeta fighting Broly and destroying reality in the process. So, yeah, that. So, and then we saw Vegito going against Fusamasu, who we know was capable of warping reality via his death that turned him into like the evil that expanded throughout the universe. So that power was within them, and Vegeta was able to go up against it. Vegito only lost because they burned through their Guitar earring energy in under an hour. So in theory, they could have easily killed him. In theory. So and then Gogeta depowered Broly enough that he would have died if he had not been wished away. So that we know that they are on a level that is somewhat, if not perfectly equal to each other. The G1 blog confirmed this themselves, or it confirmed this in their own way. Obviously, they can sometimes get things wrong, but if they are on an equal stat level, faster, so that neither is faster, neither is stronger, neither is more endurant, how are you going to decide who wins? Well, I hope I mentioned this earlier. I can't remember if I did, but the Fusion Dance has a time limit of 30 minutes. We saw this multiple times throughout the series, including the Broly movie, where Goku and Vegeta kept screwing up the fusion, and Piccolo specifically said, "You screwed up! You have to wait another 30 minutes now!" That's not my best Piccolo impersonation. I'm just trying to get it out there. So, they can only go for 30 minutes. The Guitar earrings can go for an hour at max time, but both of them still have to adhere to the rule of, a certain level of energy will drain you faster. There's another element here, and that's that since these are canon characters, remember the Broly movie is canon. The Super Broly movie is canon. Okay, not the other ones. Because they are canon, and it's still Goku and Vegeta, they know about the other fusion. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they know about Vegito and Gogeta. I mean, if this was non-canon versus canon, then you could make the argument that technically one does not know about the other at points. But because they are now both canon fusions, they know about one another. All right, they'll be impressed that the other form is somehow there, but that won't greatly impact the fight. So they know each other's moves. They know what they can do. They know that they both can go Super Saiyan Blue. They both have certain techniques because of what Goku and Vegeta learned. Because we are taking these at the end of their uh, current story, which in the manga would be the Granola the Survivor arc, and that means that Vegeta's learned Spirit Fission, that Goku has more or less mastered Ultra Instinct, more or less, and so on and so forth. Vegeta's got Ultra Ego and whatnot. So all those techniques that they have would be available to them in their fusion forms, which some people say, like, what about Spirit Fission? That could separate the two, but since both of them know that technique, they would use it on each other, and then they both be defused. So you're not going to see that in the fight, more than likely. So how do you determine who wins when both of them are basically the same character, just a different fusion? Well, it's about time. And as a result, both of them are going to be going at it full force to try and defeat the other, if for no other reason, just try and figure out who's the more powerful fusion. So they're going to be burning up their energy at an accelerated rate. And due to that, Vegito has the advantage. Vegito can go an hour at max time. Gogeta can go 30 minutes at max time. So, and because they would both know that, they would actually push themselves harder to try and defeat the other before their time limits ran out. But that wouldn't be possible with both of them going at each other full tilt. And so, if their stats are the same, which it's more than likely they are based on what we've seen, and one of them can literally last longer than the other, then it literally becomes a case of who defuses first, and that would be Gogeta because of the power of the fusion dance versus the power of the Potara earrings. So given that, I am going to pick Vegito to win the day. And yeah, I guess you could say his earrings are a lot cooler than a dance. But yes, I'm picking Vegito to win this season finale. We'll see how it goes. All right, and with that, I'm ending this episode of Todd Talk. Who do you think is going to win between Gogeta and Vegito? Let me know in the comments below. So, I thank you for watching. If you made this far, I know you were listening, and I'll see you around.